lag. Perfect. All right. So thanks everybody. Thanks for coming to the Charli3 podcast number 8. I know it's been a while since the last one, but we're joined here today by the Cardashift team, Vincent, their CEO, and Adam, and then Rudo from CryptoEMC. But I'm going to let you guys give your own introduction of yourselves. Let's start with the Cardashift guys. Vincent, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Nice to be here. So Vincent, I'm one of the co-founder of Cardashift and the actual executive director. So basically what I do on a day-to-day basis is I'm leading the team to hand out the first version of the launchpad and the batch of projects which will go in. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm in the blockchain ecosystem since late 2016 and quite found about Cardano since 2018. So here I.
That's what we call an OG member, 2016. You've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Short time, yeah.
Not yet. So Adam, tell us what you do for Cardashift.
Yeah. Hello guys, my name is Adam. I'm super excited because this is my first podcast, to be honest. I joined the Cardashift team a couple of months ago, and I'm assisting our head of growth in making new partnerships with huge actors on-chain and off-chain, and I'm part also of the tokenomics team.
Nice. And Rudo, people know you. I was just on your channel a few times. You know, you had backlog with other big channels. So, but what are you doing now?
Well, a little bit of everything. Looking at how the price is falling through the floor. But other than that, yes, trader, investor, and want to know what you know. It's always about information. That is probably the best currency out there, and that's all that I love doing. Speaking to inspiring gentlemen like yourselves, learning from you, and then hopefully making some money along the line.
We're all here for some sort of a money thing. So let's pull right into that. I mean, one of our main topics for you guys at Cardashift is a launchpad is talking about, you know, raises and VCs and like, how do you get that money? Where does it come from? I know a lot of people are really curious about all that to begin with. You know, for our project, like one of those is Rudo was one of the investors in Charli3 to begin with. So like it can come from anywhere, just interested parties, but you know, who else? Like, and is it good? Is it bad? I know traditional VCs are a different kind of story in crypto, like the landscape's a bit different. So what's been your experiences kind of with that so far?
Yeah, sure. So basically we did a fundraising. We raised $10 million. And to do that, basically we mostly relied on traditional and classic investors such as you, citizens, I guess. Yeah. And we have a few VCs or at least VC representatives on board, but the idea was mainly to be citizen driven because it's what we're aiming to do is to empower citizens to fund and support projects that aim to solve social and environmental challenges. And as of today, we truly believe if it's not citizen driven, it won't work in time. So for us, basically what we expected and what we did is basically to only foster and search for classic and small investors. And now we're partnering with VCs and talking with a lot of VCs for the rest of the story. But down the line, the idea was only retail investors such as yourself and not big ones.
That's fair. Yeah, I know that's especially in Cardano, that's kind of been a thing too, either doing fair launch or like really small launch instead of giving away. Like I think traditionally most VCs are looking for equity and like or trying to get like 50% of your company, and like that doesn't really. I don't think that works in crypto. It definitely doesn't work in the Cardano ecosystem. But I'm curious about like the rest of crypto. Rudo, you're involved in far more than I am in crypto side of things. So like, is that sentiment really shared along with in other chains as well, or are other chains just about give me the big money, let's get going?
I think it's. I don't think you can link it to chain on chain. I think it's you're going to have to take it on a case by case a case-by-case scenario, because you meet interesting individuals, and some of them, they barely want to ask for any money, and then you get the other half of the argument where it is about getting as much out of you for as little share, relinquishing as little share as possible. So it's a tough one to answer as such. I think what I did pick up through time is exactly that negotiation gives you a good idea of what you can expect with whatever is going forward. So sometimes when they are when your deal is generous, sometimes it speaks to the positivity and the love that they have for what it is they're trying to do. And I've picked up on those things. And sometimes when, so it's a tricky thing. I don't have a straight answer. You actually threw me a very gray, 50 shades of gray question there, buddy.
That's okay. I think it really depends. I've seen kind of chain to chain, purely just in my experience, and that's why I ask you, because I know you're involved in more. And in Cardano side, more people like the fair launch side of things that you can do now, where there is no seed, there is no private. It just opens up fully, and like World Mobile Token did that, and Empower Project did that. I know Vi Finance did the same thing, where it was just, here's the base level, anybody can buy it this price up to a certain amount, and that's it. So you never get huge holders. It's way more decentralized in your holdings across the company. No one person can really tank it unless they're extra rich and buy up tons after the launch happens, so it seems more stable and more fair. But then the downside of that, and I know I've talked to you about this a little bit, Rudo, is that, the public is generally more money hungry sometimes too. So they might just sell off really quickly, as soon as it happens to have any product. And then you're more stagnant, right?
Yeah, they're the angry mob. This is the thing about why it's so important that we try and help educate, because I don't want to generalize, because it can be insulting as such, but for anybody that is new, let's use that term rather, it's easy to evaluate a project based on its price. And people tend to get hung up on that rather than what is really cooking and ticking in the back door. So it's nice to tell your buddy, I got it at 3 and it's at 25, or whatever the case might be. And that's then the next thing. So people hunt for those cheap bargain basement projects where they can get them nice and cheap. And sometimes that's where the trick lies. And Launchpads does, I think, do a lot of that, do away with that scams that we had to deal, because I know in the beginning I tend to suffer from that as well. It's cheap, it's early, you need to get in now. There's the documents aren't ready. It's not ready, but if you're late, you're going to miss the bus again. And that's the reality that, due diligence comes in nice. And at least that then Launchpads does bring a real good service to the market. It does a little bit of that thinking for you, so you can invest with a little bit more ease. Maybe it's decentralized. Maybe you never get enough. I've never met a Launchpad that given me enough, but that's the reality. But it's necessary. Yeah. I think it's necessary, and it's a nice space to be in, and it's a welcome to the crypto community in general.
Yeah. So talking about your documentation and getting everything ready, I think that Adam, you probably have a lot. You might have a play in that with the projects coming up, right? You're talking about tokenomics and project management and making sure that they're ready. I guess that kind of rolls into the accelerator side of things too, right? Working with these projects. How are you? Can you tell us more about how you guys for Cardashift? Is there something different about that, or what do you see as the benefit? I guess. To doing that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So to go back to the process and to the genesis of the process, basically we received something like 250 projects application for our Launchpad. We have an amazing expert team based on the impact side and the tokenomics side, trying to find and to determine what are the projects that could be interested and could be huge for our Launchpad. So basically, we selected something like 10 projects out of 250 applications. So this is a lot. This is a huge work, and congrats to the impact team and the tokenomics team, because this was huge. It was super.
So, I mean, that's one thing that Rudo just mentioned too, is what's scam, what's not. And this is a service that Launchpads give, is they've already vetted all these projects and are only picking out the best ones. Now, there are some Launchpads I've seen that they don't care. They'll just throw up everything,
Absolutely.
But yeah, if you're saying you already sifted through 250, I mean, that's more than I'm going to be able to do. So that's kind of where you have to try and trust, to a point as well. So yeah, absolutely.
For the first batch, because this is our first batch and we want to make this batch special and efficient, to be honest. So we want to have the best batch ever and to propose to the community a bunch of projects, a bunch of amazing projects, So we pre-selected and we have, key measurements index to measure and to determine what are the main topics we want to address and what are the main subjects and projects we want to propose to our community.
Yeah. Now, maybe this is a more specific controversial question, but can you say what any of these projects are at the moment, or are we still waiting on that?
Yeah. We're gonna go live tomorrow, 8 p.m.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Paris time, Central European time. But I can tell you something. You have never seen such projects on a blockchain at the moment. We have 10 projects that we can say, maybe 2 or 3 of them will ring a bell to you, okay, I've already seen that on another chain, etc.
Okay.
Here we have projects from the real world looking to find a way to match their impact ambitions, so basically positive impact on the world, can be social, environmental one, and their business model. And what they see in blockchain is the capacity through tokenization to find innovative business models, matching, aligning impact with profitability. And so we have projects that I believe, I've never seen them on blockchain before. It will be quite interesting to see how the community react to real world projects that I cannot make any assumption, but none of them will make 100x in 2 days on a launchpad because it's huge. It's not DeFi protocols. It's more hey, we're going to use the technology to have a real concrete impact on a day-to-day basis on our daily lives. And it will be definitely interesting. And we're waiting for feedbacks from the community to know, hey, are we too early for pushing those projects? Should we have wait 1 year or 2 so the space can mature a bit, so that oracles can be more mature for real world problems too?
That's a thing.
Let's see.
Yep.
Could be quite cool.
So,
it would be amazing.
Well, we'll continue on that for a second, but first I have to address my stupidity here. When we started recording, and we'll put this whole thing up right after, but for the live stream part of it, when I pushed go live on YouTube, it didn't work, so I just did it now. So we've just started streaming live to YouTube, so that's my fault. But the full recording is here, so anyone who's watching right now for the live, right after this, I'll make sure the whole thing goes up. So that's just stupid. That's happened once before, and I was not happy about it. So sorry, so sorry for everybody watching. But again, we'll just do quick intros. Basically, Cardashift team, Vincent, CEO, Adam, tokenomics project manager, many hats man, and Rudo from CryptoEMC, a good buddy of ours. We're just chatting about VCs, raises, launch pads, and Cardashift's launch, which is coming up tomorrow, which Vincent was just talking about. They've got 10 projects going live soon. So very exciting. There hasn't been a launch pad. This is another, just continuing our conversation. There hasn't been a launch pad that's launched anything on Cardano for many months. Rudo, am I right by that? I haven't seen anything from different launch pads go up in months from Cardano.
Yeah, kind of. I actually, had to remind myself what is all the launch pads that there is to try and, check out and see what the competition is doing. So that's true. Well, a lot of externals factor probably resulted in that happening, but I mean, I'm happy to say that it's It's getting to a point where we're going to have something new. And one thing just to add on it, talking about timing, for anybody that's viewing now is the best time, because the people that will be investing in projects launching now, we are the die-hard people. We are here to stay. So this is not the quick buck, the early, the 100x chasers. So the meaning is this is when it's going to grow slow, whatever you get in, if they keep doing what they say they're going to do, hit their targets and so forth. It's going to grow slow. It's going to take time, but this is the best time for it, because come the next time when the market starts getting silly and everybody sips on that euphoria juice, you're going to be the one to be able to say, thanks, I can cash in at a little bit and buy back more later on, because guess what? We all want to make money. And when we are able to invest and have a bigger share in what it is that we believe. And this is just the amazingest time, or the best time for that to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you always look back at charts and go, oh, if only I bought down here. It's like, well, that's the now, So hopefully, I mean, obviously we wait, and there's always different things you can do to keep yourself more safe, wait until there's, more trend up and then buy in or whatever. But, it's always a risk, but Rudo's totally right. And I think with the launchpad situation, I mean, I know from working with CardStarter a little bit last year, after we launched, and we're an accelerator project, so maybe we get into the acceleration kind of topic, is that there's a lot of questions that come towards the launchpad about the projects that they're launching, and like, why aren't they doing well? What have you done to help them? What support have they been given? Why? And then it comes back on your reputation too. Like, if they don't do well, then people think that you're a crap launchpad, even though it has nothing to do with you. So it's, what do you do from there? And I guess what kind of services, I guess, and maybe this is just too much of a direct question, but I'm curious about, for your accelerator projects, or program rather, what does that entail for the people that don't know? Like, what does an accelerator do?
Yeah, definitely. So maybe I'm going to just take a step back and say, before funding any project, we should make due diligences. You should, I should, and it's something everybody should do, as we say in the market. But what we do basically is based on the voting of our community. So we'll hand out 10 projects to our community. 2 will get selected. If the 2 selected, they won't raise funds before we did what we call a pre-funding support. So basically, we provide them with a free service which lasts 6 to 8 weeks. The idea being, we are going to design the whole token economics. We are going to work with them on their impact side, ensure that they have the right product, go on the right market. We are going to help them find the right team, maybe do some partnerships, recruit a crypto community team too, because it's important to them. As they're entering the space. And we do that with them before the funding. The idea for us being to de-risk at maximum our investors. Like, if we push to you a project for funding, we made our work to ensure it's a good project. There are risks. There are always risks, but still, we did the job. You can see that. We provide you with everything we did, and you will see that on what content we will deliver in the coming days regarding the projects. We have a lot of content showing that we did pass a lot of hours with the project before they came into the launchpad. So it's a huge, we did invest a lot of money to do that basically, but we believe it's important to do that for the investors and for tomorrow. We want to be there in 10 years. So let's start having a thorough process before doing anything. And right after the funding, we have a 6 to 12 months acceleration support. So acceleration program is basically, it depends on everything. It depends on the accelerators, etc. For us, is more like access to our community of investors, experts. We have mentorship. We help them follow up on their impact metrics for 6 to 12 months at least, depending on the project. and we have a lot of, how to say that, a lot of expertise we can make them benefit from. So the idea, we have a standard acceleration program, which is mainly mentorship and some impact design things, and then we have add-ons. So basically, if you need a service provider, we do have a selection of service provider that you can work with to do anything you must do. For us, the idea being, today we want to be a decentralized accelerator. So how can we manage to have all the service providers around the table so that any project that comes in has money and capacities? Because sometimes there is money, but no capacities, and so they just burn the money and do nothing. We want to provide both.
Yep.
And so we have a lot of expertise we can provide, or we have partners that can do that.
And I think that's huge to have that ongoing support, because a lot of people that come in, and you're saying you're presenting the teams and getting them ready to go, but like after launch, it's a whole different story. Like people don't know how to navigate things. Like Rudo said, the ravenous mob of the general community will be all over you, asking tons and tons of questions. And you need support on that. And I think certain teams that know that they need the accelerated support, then will really highly benefit from that, because they're already open to collaboration, right? So I think that's really good that you're planning to stay along with it, not just prior to launch, but afterwards as well.
Yeah.
And you're right. Just money management even is a big thing. I think finding people the right type of other advisors, if you guys have a team on that, is really good for different projects. Because like we had a relatively small raise on the Charli3 side from the card starter thing, and yeah, it's tough to navigate like fund management over a long period of time, especially when Cardano is not live yet. Like we're still not technically making income off of our base product because the system's not live. And like, how do you push through that? How do you manage if there's a huge bear market and nothing's happening, or a lack of tech that's been developed? And yeah, having support with that it will be much easier journey than what we went through so far, I think, for sure. But I think it's good. And also you said to have more atoms, which is also beneficial, because more atoms help out the project. I like how you said that. It was pretty funny. We'll have atoms. Yeah. Sweet.
If I may add something about the partnerships and the acceleration phase. So basically we have made, and we will maybe announce a new partnership soon. And these partnerships are great because we are trying to create a kind of ecosystem on Cardano. And through this ecosystem, through this on-chain expertise, we are going to create an impact investing ecosystem where a project could be financed and could be supported by experts, so tech experts, maybe institutional ones too. So we are talking about VCs, about accelerators, but we can also talk about off-chain experts. So basically, we are trying through these partnerships to build something strong and something cool for the project and for the impactful project leaders.
Yeah, I think VCs, and I'd love to hear Rudo's thoughts on this too, like the pros and cons of it is, technically, Rudo's kind of a VC for us. And we have, talked and now started doing, YouTube stuff, playing to Rudo's strengths to promote what we are, and I think finding VCs that actually add value to your project is a big deal, instead of just giving you money. But like, where's the pro and where's the con in this? To me, pro of a VC coming in is you got money. You need money to operate either way, but is it better to wait for someone who's going to bring in like value add as well as money, or do you just take the money? And how much is it okay, to actually accept from a single source? Is it okay to have a VC that doesn't know crypto stuff either, just because it's money coming in? So like, I don't know. What do you think, Rudo, on that factor?
It's a tough one. You keep throwing the tough ones my way. I think there's many angles one can look at, and many
I
pros.
know, it's because you think a lot. You're a good thinker.
There's many pros and cons as well to it. But I would imagine, from what you're saying, and just to bring it back, not answering your answer, but actually giving you a different question to answer. The thing that I would like to see, and
Sure.
this is probably what happens in crypto a lot, especially with new projects launching, is this sometimes the value add is in the wrong areas too quickly and too aggressively, and good news travels fast as well. So what happens is with a lot of these new projects, they come out kicking and screaming, making bold claims which they will eventually deliver on, but the valuation of that project subsedes the growth with what is happening within. And that is sometimes, detrimental to themselves because, like I said again, the general public valuates a company's potential on its price exclusively. It's very seldom that everybody uses the term "do your own research," but the other half of the argument is, I had to start a YouTube channel just to talk to you guys. That's the reality. That's the decentralized for you. It's not like you can phone up any coin that I'm interested in, ask them what's cooking. And so what happens is you're left with that little snippets of intel. And then what happens is price then goes, well, we make a lot of money. And then somewhere along the line, somebody wiser than you cashes in on that. And then obviously that hurts because the price then pays the suffer for. And then immediately I see companies not even bouncing back. It takes them years to bounce back from a big price dump like that, because all of a sudden everybody else says, listen, there must be something wrong there. Although that probably is just their own reckless investment within that project. Nothing to do with what they're doing. So I'm picking up on a lot of good projects. The price basically wrecked them because people are looking at that. So with that being said, what you were talking about now, Damon, is I think the nice thing about it is creating this pool of assistance means that you need to be looking at not necessarily just what it is you're trying to solve, because it's easy to get lost in the romance of what it is you want to do. VC guys they're passionate about what they're trying to do, but also to have this pool of additional stuff, because sometimes you run into a problem that you don't even know is existing, and at that stage it's too late. And I love the fact that you've got this, you want to build this ecosystem of people, because that's going to open you to additional possibilities and going to point out red flags before they happen through other experiences. And that then cultivates sustainable growth and a long-term relationship. And if we think about it, your investment is your retirement money. It's not your for tomorrow money. So the idea is you do your investment, you sit back and you allow them enough sufficient time to go and do what it is they want to do. And there's no measure stick. There's no deadline on that. Realistically, some projects are going to be quick to solve it. It's a simple solution. Some has got an elegant, difficult problem to solve. And then the other part of what the launchpads does, probably, some people are inventing problems to solve. And those are normally the ones that you need to be mindful of, because they will most probably fail within a bear market.
Yeah, I think people that spread themselves too thin, a lot of projects spread themselves too thin and trying to do tons of different things. It's like, well, are you going to be able to fund all that? Are you going to manage it, like you said, through a bear market when you don't have the engagement that you're really looking for? Are those initiatives actually going to be successful? Or is it better to really focus on one thing? I mean, we've talked on Charli3 about going to different chains. I know I kind of spoiled that on your show, Rudo, the other day when I wasn't expecting to. You got me at the tired time where I spilled secrets. So
no sleep,
so we've talked about going on to different chains eventually, and people go, yeah, I was like, no sleep. It was like 4 a.m. when I came on your show. It was crazy. And we talked about going different side chains and stuff, but that's a lot of work. That's a lot of the power that goes into that, and a totally full different team and a lot of funding. And people, get worried, even though it's like the main question people ask. It's like, also they're still getting worried of, oh, do you have the bandwidth for that? And we said, no, not right now. We're going to finish what we started on Cardano, make sure that's set, make sure it's good. It's a quality product. Everybody can use it perfectly. And then we'll start moving to other things. We expand just like any other normal company. I mean, Walmart started as a tiny little corner store in a small village, and now look at them. There's a world conglomerate, well, U.S. conglomerate, but I know everyone around the world knows that Walmart is. So, but yeah, it's crazy that people, try and I think spread too big too quickly, and then it failed. But having the support like from launchpads and stuff to make sure your core product to begin with is set up properly, and like you said, set up to succeed is kind of a big deal. I saw plenty that have not been, from different launchpads, and it's kind of unfortunate because it seems like that team and what they were going for had a really good vision and really good people behind it, but without the proper support, it just kind of fell apart. Some people fail, some people don't, but I think what you guys have set up so far, or plan to at least, really sounds like you're hitting, like you've done tons of research already on what's needed. And obviously, Vincent, you said you've been around since 2016, so I'm sure you've seen your fair share of failing and successing. So succeeding. There we go. Stupid words. But yeah.
And I think if I can add to that is we need to bring a bit of the real world, the traditional economy in the blockchain ecosystem a bit.
Yeah.
At least a bit. Like framework and how you support a project so he can get funded, he can get supported, etc., etc. We need to add that. And that's why we have 3 companies behind Cardashift, is we decided to gather our capacities to solve those kind of problems. And yeah, actually, it's really interesting. The discussion is, do you want to have smart money VCs first or not? VCs for money or VCs for money plus anything that can add value?
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I think it depends on the time frame you are, on which time frame you are. If you want to resolve a big problem like Charli is doing, you will need to get funded a lot throughout the years. It's a true fact. So we need to be able to start with a sound and fair investment process. So it's basically public sales, etc., community driven, and everybody who's coming in should have a value added to you, especially if it's institutional ones. And it's only when you're going on a Series C, D, I don't know, any kind of series, when you're raising big funds, then you can pour in the guy who's just going to give money and nothing else. I think it's really my belief is there are enough people around the world to fund your project while being completely aligned with what you're trying to solve, what you're trying to do, your team, etc. You better take the money which has value for you and value for the project, not only financial value. And then on subsequent fundings, you can go for more like open funding to people which are just going to pour money in, etc., etc. So
absolutely. So we're getting kind of to our time, even though I know the live stream people don't think so because I started late. But well, I just want to go over a little bit of your launch here tomorrow. What's the details around this? What's your kind of starting price? Where is the launch happening? Like what's happening with everything around it? Because I know you guys, I've seen your token and stuff kind of up in different places already. So just give us the details of what's happening for tomorrow.
Yeah. I can do it. Yeah, so we are going to release the launchpad tomorrow at 7 p.m. CST. Basically, you will have 3 weeks to register to vote for the selected projects. So we are going to present, as I said before, the 10 projects, and then people will be able to register, and then in 3 weeks will be able to vote. Which is quite interesting with this is the fact that we try to include and to integrate all the Cardano actors in this voting process, because you won't. You do not need to have Clap to take part into this process. Basically, you will have to have only a Cardano wallet to be able to register and then vote. And by having a Cardano wallet, you will be able to have 10 voting tickets. So this is the main, the the main fact of our project is that we want to include and to integrate all the people into our voting process. Regarding the clap,
Awesome.
the more claps you will have, the more voting tickets you will have. So basically, you can buy clap on some dexes, such as MinSwap, Sunday Swap, or even Wing Riders and Musli Swap. And
Now let's specify what clap is. That's your token.
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Sorry, I have to do that. So clap is our native token. So basically, with clap, you will be able to vote, and you will be able also to finance the selected project during the IDOs.
If I must say, maybe just add one thing, because we are in the Cardano community, we do use a quadratic voting system. You do not get as much voting power as you have clap. You get square root of the number of clap you hold. So the idea being, we want to lower down the risk that someone who's really rich could win the election for the projects he is voting in. We wanted to lower down that. So basically, the ratio between the poorest, if I must say, and the richest is only 16 times the voting power, and not hundreds, 1,000 times. So quadratic voting is quite cool for us, and we have two other tricks to better engage the community and be like more democratic, if I must say, because we've been on all the launchpad, it's basically tier systems, and at the end of the day, it's always the same people who's got the tiers and the money and the capacity to invest. Here we are trying to make things a bit differently so that everybody can have a say in what we will fund and support.
Yeah, absolutely. We have an amazing article about this in Medium, so check it if you want further details.
I think he wrote it, so that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, amazing. I wrote it. It's the best. Yeah, for sure. That's fair. I do that sometimes too. You know, you got to be proud of your work, right? Absolutely. So, anywho, I think that's great. Everybody who's listening or watching this back tomorrow or next week or whatever, please go check out Cardashift. Also, love for you guys to check out Rudo's channel, CryptoEMC. They're doing